Ba-da-ba-ba. No cool intro stream on the laptop. Let's set the other computer. Alright. Don't want to hit that button again. That didn't work either. New guy at the controls here. Hold on. There we go. I was just saying I would be checking to see if the sound was working because we had sound issues a while ago. So I'm using this microphone until, unless this one's better. Yeah, I'm having some issues with sound. It did an update a while ago and I haven't quite tweaked everything out again. So how is it now? Because it should be broadcasting. Do I? I don't have a noise gate turned on in that. I'm alright. Miss Liz, how are you? Sound is back with this scene. Alright, cool. I'll just keep an eye over there as I'm moving around, because this works, and... Oh, you know why that doesn't work? Because I'm not having that in. But this should still work. Yeah, alright, that still has the microphone. Alright. We'll sort it out. Actually, if you give me a second... yeah, fuck it. I'll work on it later. We'll just leave it on big head intro. That one. Alright. Yeah, pretty much, Joe Russ. Pretty much. At least from this setup, because... kinda really only use this computer for streaming and reference anymore. And this was a fucking booyah computer back in the day. Anyway, good to see everybody. I know it's been a little while. Just there you are. Hey, so life happens. Sorry, I keep looking everywhere, but you. Just shit going on, getting through some stuff. We'll sort out the finer details, or not, in a while, as we're dealing with stuff. So today I decided to go ahead and get online, talk to y'all, especially since now I got this big old HiPot tester. A couple other things to look at, and if we get some decent weather coming up, I'll try to get it out for Mavis again. And obviously we're going to go back to the power plant and see what's left after 6 months. Because I feel like that was one of my last... Was that one of my... that was towards the end of the last time I did a drone stream. Cheers, I have some black cherry tea. And I guess while we're here, let's do one of them toast things. Cheers things, whatever. It is 1:05. Yeah, I forgot to start at 1:05 instead of 1 o'clock. Just to give that extra little buffer thing, but... Oh, like, my head is not even fitting in the shot because of my fucking beard has gotten longer. Alright, so anyway, I have... This is some super sour diesel. Everybody wants to grab up. I'll go ahead and do a little toasty cheery thingy. Sorry, I'm kind of looking around the bench, seeing if there's anything else we might get into. But probably not. Alright, so cheers to Furbear. Haven't heard from him in a moment, but I know he's dealing with his stuff, and everything should be over the hump and getting better for him. So cheers to him. Cheers to good people doing good things and bad people doing good things and not doing bad things. Whatever I used to say, you know what I mean. Cheers. I feel like my camera angles are all... Like, I feel like I used to fit better. This is the shelf. The shelf hasn't moved, but I don't feel like I got anything off of that. Oh, battery's dead. Hold on. So, filling in for Super Sour Diesel is Pineapple Express. Let me go ahead and plug this in. Oh, good grief. I cannot wait until I get to expand my workbench. Then instead of being this area, it's going to have an entire room. Eventually. Alright, you charge. Alright, so I'm going to kind of redo that, because I didn't actually get any... Oh, there you are. Didn't actually get anything. So, Pineapple Express this time. Cheers. Better. Alright. So I figure we will see what we can tear into this little stuff at first. And then maybe switch over to the big guy here after the bottom of the hour. Pardon me. Ooh, might be one more in there. Alright. So, let's see what we can get into. This... Oh, let me, do down that one. There we go. So this little guy right here, this is called an IFB. Integrated fuse board. Plug this in and it basically provides regulated power to some models of electric forklift. What are we looking? Alright, I'll have to zoom down on it some. So this one went bad. As far as I can tell, one of the 24 volt regulators in it went poo-poo and shorted across itself as we were getting battery voltage of 36 volts out of the 24 volt end. And hey, Trent. Trenty is here, as she does. It's interesting, if I'm at the bench normally, like, she may swing by, but every time I do a stream, she comes and hangs out. And we all know, if you don't, cats get priority on the streams. Alright, she's headed back up. So anyway, what do we got on focus? So we have this big ass, this is a PTC that's in there, because apparently they are worried that the fuses are going to overheat, or any of these little tiny components, even though all the work's being done over here. They put the PTC in that. Sure. Let's, anyway, I would have put it in a heated area myself, just to give it a chance to kind of help the... Man, it has been a while. It's going to help everything out. Anyway, sorry. So on here, this gets battery voltage in across these terminals up here, which it will take either 24 or 36 volts, and it just puts out a nice clean 24 and 12 volts for your computers and your lights and all that stuff. Right. There's a mouse. Fried relay contacts? No. I have a feeling, I don't know which one of these, like with the service manuals they give us, you get like basics, schematics of the forklifts and all that, but you don't really get much for the components. This gives a basic block diagram for it, but doesn't, they don't supply us with a detailed version of these because they don't expect anybody to do anything with them. But I mean, it's basically just a over-engineered set of voltage regulators with fuses. Most likely, I would say this is probably for the 24 volts. Actually, no, that would probably be for the 12 volts, because that's going to be the biggest step down. I guess these two are, I know there's two different 24 volt regulators in it, so I'm guessing that's these two. I'm wondering if those are MOSFETs for turning stuff on. All the stuff you're seeing on it is dust from McCormick Spices, if you're familiar, like the people that make Old Bay and such. But most likely just it overheated, or enough of the spice got into some of these joints. You get a little bit of humidity going in there, and this stuff will turn into it will pass current, conductive. God, it will become conductive. What is that? Well, there's nothing obvious that I could see burnt on it, although there might be a hole in that. Well, one day I may go ahead and just mess with it just to see if I can either adapt it for my own personal use, especially once I get the big bench started to get put together. I'm going to need lots of different voltages, so I can always use this for one of my base power supplies, besides the 8 billion other ones I have farting around. Alright, let's see. This we got to be a little careful with, because for some reason they actually want the core back on it. This is off of a reach truck, an older reach truck. Is it like 15, 20 years old, something like that? This is when they first started using AC motors and forklifts instead of DC motors. They had a bunch of controllers that were kind of smart, kind of not smart. They were smart enough to have your basic interlocks and be able to read your components, or like read inputs and such. But in the forklift world, you need to be a little bit more safer than just hoping this controller's not going to roll on at once. Try to incorporate more interlocks so people don't get hurt. So this, the vehicle master controller, was put in between all of them to kind of help translate and balk and say, okay, well, I'm not going to tell, well, it'll basically says, okay, your controller or your handle says you want 100% throttle. That's the reason why I'm saying that. But the steer controller doesn't think it's ready, so I'm not going to send that throttle signal to the traction controller. They call traction in forklift land, traction means like the drive, like a traction motor is a drive motor. Traction controller is the motor that controls the drive motors. I don't get it. Never have. but whatever. So this is the the translator in between all the controllers on this particular truck. And on that truck, everything worked except full speed forward or backwards on the throttle. All the functions worked, all the speeds worked, all the interlocks were working, the ones that were left, because it's an old truck, and actually a lot of them got pulled off per factory because they were having problems with them. But anyway, that all got solved, and there's been, what, 4 more models, different models of reach truck since this was built. But, so everything on this thing was working, except we could never get it to go full throttle. Went through a bunch of troubleshooting, checking all the controllers, settings, wire harness, everything checked out perfect. Pulled one of these off of a sister truck, plugged it in, since they, it's just a base function. You don't need to do reprogram it like per truck. But we plugged another one in after the factory told us to do a ton of this stuff that nothing helped. So I decided to grab this, swap it out, and that fixed it. So I doubt there's going to be much carnage inside. Seems like it's more of a programming corruption, possibly. Allen keys. But it was interesting that just one function on the truck is all that failed. And it would only do 50% throttle. So somehow it was losing the rest of what we were calling for. Kind of weird. That actually is a Torx bit. $10. All right. But they actually want the old one back on this. $300 core charge. So I'm guessing that's just because they don't make them anymore. And the interesting thing is, it's $300 core charge, but the one they sent, damn, ugh, the one they sent was brand new. So I guess they are foreseeing the fact that since they're not producing them anymore, as they send the new ones out, they got to get the old ones back in. And there is a warranty seal, but obviously I'm not worried about that because this part was probably made 15 years ago. See if we can find any dates on anything inside of it, assuming we can get in here without too much issue. Sorry, I keep forgetting to make sure I hold this on screen. Or on camera, I guess. Alright, everybody, you ready? Hold on. We all know this is our favorite moment of anything. Yeah, that's good enough focus. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Cut that warranty seal, baby. Let's see. Nice and clean inside. That's shocking considering the environment it was in. Well, nothing obvious back here. There's like a little, it looks like probably left over from flux. That's all nice and clean. Let's see here. What do we have for dates? My old people class helpers out. What can you see? 14th, is that 2014? It seems that might not be. Don't think this was made in 2035. Nothing has any obvious date code on it. that's that DSP. Anybody know anything about DSP numbers? Doesn't look like there's a date code on there to me. Unless that's what that G4 is, but I feel like that's more of a series thing. What's this? See, that ends in 1430. I don't feel like this is from, well, maybe it was replaced once. I mean, that wouldn't be, oh, there's 1153. There's 2011. So, pretty old. Nothing obvious failed on it. You can see, I'm guessing these are all MOSFETs for outputs. This does have some hard outputs on it. Let me see if I can work that focus a little bit. Ooh, ooh. I think that's okay. That look alright? That looks alright. Just a lot of logic. So I'm guessing these are MOSFETs for outputs. They all have a 1 ohm resistor, R100. I guess that's 1 ohm. Yeah. So that's just for current limiting, I would assume. Let's actually get this under some light. What are these? I'm guessing these are gates. Like all these, like, maybe registers? Hey, somebody type this into Google. Oh, these are all different. Type, Scruff needs better magnifying glass. L is in Larry, M is in Michael, V is in Victor, 339I. I don't know if that's the number we're looking for. Oh, let's see, what's everybody talking about here? Whew. There's Mr. A Cake. Interlock. Oh, yeah. Lots of interlocks. Used to work on a current IC to electric to work traction is most of the stuff regarding the vehicle to move. Yeah. Appears to not be for use with modern stuff. Brand new old stock. Yes. Check output pins in diode mode. If one of them differs, could be a buffer transistor blown out. Should have grabbed the pin out for this. That would be a complete pain in the ass to do right now. So it probably is one. See, most of these resistors, like in this area here, this field, 1002. So it's 10K, 4701, so 4.7K. I wonder if they're set up as a voltage divider on some of these, and if it actually sent an analog signal. Yeah, actually, you know what? Because the signal going to those traction controllers is an analog signal, is before they started using CAN bus. Well, a proper CAN bus. So I wonder if one of these little resistors could also have taken a shit and the analog signal, like if it was set up in a voltage divider or something like that, could have just not been giving it all the beans. Kind of curious as to what, I'm guessing this is just for voltage regulation. Is that, let's see, it's center tap transformer. Oop, sorry, just bonked the camera. Did I fuck it up? I don't think so. Well, I'll tell you what. I need some fucking surface mount resistors. They got me covered. DSP. I always thought anything DSP was specifically audio, but I guess that using that's mostly to what, convert analog to digital and back again, I guess. Maybe. Have to go, you mean P? Have to go in 5 minutes, you'll be relieved to know. Quad comparator on that chip. Thank you, Lockwatcher. Alright, so this is just a bunch of gatings. I guess they were using some of their turn on signal was just a simple as got hot here, we'll put hot out kind of deal, you know. 2 ins gives an out. I mean, don't get much more simpler than that, so that's cool. Alright, well, we gotta be nice to this, because they want it back. I even have a note set up over on my workbook bag. That's a shame. It would have been good for parts. I mean, very specific parts, but 4.7K and 10K resistors are pretty standard. If there's a bank of those comparators, they could be used with the 1R resistor for overcurrent protection. Yeah, there's lots of all of that going on in there. From what it would seem there, Mr. Mouse. Learn how to pick up screws. The big DSP could be a controller. Alright. Yeah, these we can't even reprogram in the field. I'm guessing everything's just done through a data port on board, and there's no external way to do it. Let's see, put that back. Crash that right into an LED bulb. Found one of these guys. You can kind of see into the circuit board as well. What was this? I think this, well, it says it on top. Eco Smart. Is that Home Depot or Walmart? 5K, 7.5 watt, 104 milliamp. So 1 watt per, well, a little over a watt per filament. I guess that's pretty standard, it would seem, for most of these. I think this is actually, I think that's plastic. I'll just be careful if I crack that open. Yeah, seen one of these in a while. Woo! I keep all my incandescent bulbs strictly for load tests. I think I had that on here before. My little multi-bulb load tester. Let's see, 130. There is. There. sneak a peek at that in a minute. Well, we got about a minute. Let's see. Dude I work with gave me this. It's a Schneider D AC/DC polarity test for intermittent duty only. Square D Company. Catalog number 5008S. So that's DC side, that's AC side. I haven't messed with it because, like, fucking leads are all cracked up and shit. But it would be interesting to get this old didgeridoo going. Okay, let's see. I am going to grab some super sour diesel. What's up, Rifle Bed? It is now 1:32 in the afternoon. You know what that means. It's the poo at 32. There you go, everybody. I know that's what we were all actually waiting for. Actually did it on time for once. I don't know that I actually done that on time on a stream since like the first time. Looks like Eco Smart bulbs are rebranded for HiPot. I thought so. That's typically where I get my, on the occasion I actually need to get a light bulb, which I use mostly LEDs now. Still have a couple fluorescent, like under a workbench. And any incandescent bulbs I have are one in the oven. I guess the microwave probably. Actually, I think the microwave has LEDs in it too, for both of them. Anyway, I'm gonna do another. Now that this is charged up, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some super sour diesel, and then we'll see what's up with this 15,000 volt DC power supply or HiPot tester. Basically, very, very current limited power supply. Let's zoom that out a little bit. I don't know where the focus is. I should probably be looking at the live view while I'm adjusting focus, not the YouTube view. Alright. Now let's see. One more tea. I think I'm out. I got a little swig of coffee. Now I don't. Alright. See, this little dude, may have to look up how to take it apart. I'm guessing it involves getting this rubbery boot off. Well, that will be another time, as we have a different dinosaur to look at first. This there. That's over there. So this is from apparently about 1982-83. Don't know what these are for yet. Something 0 and something with an S. I do have a manual for it downloaded. I just haven't really gotten to it much. We're missing a screw there. if we can focus or zoom on that sticker. Kinda. I don't want to screw with the aiming. Can we focus? Ooh, ooh. Remember? 42. Alright, that was pretty good. 43. Portable DC HiPot Model 0. Why am I looking at the screen when I'm doing this? Model 0522A, serial number 2276. Input 115 volts AC. It gives something with an A there, but I can't see it anymore. 0 to 15,000 volts DC at 2 milliamps. Made in the USA. Haven't done anything with this yet except look at it. Does this fit on the screen when you unzoom? And focus is pretty good, I think. Yeah. Here's all this mess. Little sticker there. Operator is responsible for the precaution to safeguard personnel during testing. Do not lick the leads when the power is on. And I don't know if this belonged to Olivia, but it may have. So it has a semi-modern replacement plug and cord on it, so I feel like it was used at least within the last 20 years. It's just your ground. I'm guessing this is probably the front with that safety. Oh, actually, we're here too. Yeah, the return. Here's a different return. And your high voltage lead. So this goes. Oh yeah. This one screen is broke. Or the one gauge. One gauge is broke. I don't know how broken. But the back is also busted. But everything else seems okay. It is adjustable from for either going 0 to 15,000 volts or 0 to 6,000 volts. And I have no idea what's inside this thing. I can see little food bugs. Alright. Let's see what's in here. I have no idea what's in here, so I'm putting gloves on. By that I mean like anything that may have crawled in here and made a home or died or... Because that looks like a baby pincher bug right there. And I'm pretty sure if there's a bunch of bugs in here, they would have, you know, made their presence known by now. But I also don't want to open it up and reach in and accidentally find something gross. Alright, yeah, looks like all that. Oh wow, that sucks. Shit. It's like a whole board came loose inside. there's the bug. We'll get that later. Alright. How do we do this? Oh, you can actually kind of see. So here's that. Doesn't smell funny, that's cool. But I feel like having a circuit board that is capable of 0 to 15,000 volts loading like that and laying on the board is probably not a good idea. So that's going to need some sorting out. We have, so that's our current limiting resistor, I'm going to guess. Well, one of them, that is 42.5 megohms. We have some high voltage capacitors and diodes. Where's my little flashy light? I think I got this from Harbor Freight. So not only does it telescope, but then the last bit. And all the batteries are little watch batteries up here. This is strictly base. All the electronics is up here. It's a cool little guy for the bench. Alright, we have, let's see, 10 microfarad at 20,000 volts DC. I'm guessing that's going to be the same diode, or diodes. Say Vero, might be VF or VE. And this is a 100K resistor. So where is this? What's the other end of, okay. So what we got going on here, primary 120 volts, secondary 6,000 volts. Get to the screen half here shortly. So I'm guessing, is that, where's the blue wires? So those go to a switch. Let's go to the gauge. So these wires here are for the gauge. That's just voltage monitoring, because these go, that's the only place they go, is right up to that broken gauge. So I'm guessing the difference between 6,000 and 15,000 volts. Ooh, wow, look at this big mammer jammer. Holy shit, y'all gonna love this. Can you see that right there? That awesome thing that's right there. Can't you see that? That is awesome. You'll see it in a minute. They got neon tubes in here. Don't they use neon tubes for like current limiting? No, mouse, it goes up to 15 actually. So this would be interesting. I wonder if removing or adjusting these would make this much more lethal or useful. As these are, that's a, see, 2 capacitors and 2 diodes. That's just a doubler if I'm not mistaken, or is that a quadrupler? I feel like that's a doubler. I haven't learned everything about high voltage stuff quite yet. Might be some voltage soon. This here has something to do with grounding or zeroing something out. This is the board that goes to those weird plugs on the outside. That might be more for calibration. But let's see, where do these red wires go? One goes down to here, over here. The other one comes to the cool little thing that you're about to see. Alright. The voltage adjuster potentiometer is wicked looking. Look at that some bitch. And like, that is the copper. Feels kind of funny. Can you see anything moving? Oh yeah, right. That's awesome. Let's see if I can zoom down a little bit. Where the hell's the map? Come on. That's what we got for zoom. Alright. Alright. That almost reminds me of like a tiny variac. I guess it's kind of what it is, actually, because it's controlling the voltage going through the transformer. But yeah, there's two little neons. Like, don't they use those for current limiting or something? Because they're not obviously being used in a look-at-me fashion. Let's see. This is the back of the broken gauge. I don't even see how that mounts here. So that mounts on the corners, and all that hardware is going. So this is going to need a little bit of work before I plug it in. But everything looks fairly good condition. I think the gauge damage is going to be, looks like it's probably cosmetic. That's missing its safety ground there, little ground bolt. It looks like this is basically, I mean, it's not much more than just sending the AC through, limiting the current a little bit, and then just bumping it straight up to 15,000, well, 6 or 15,000 volts and going from there. Let's see. So this, so this wire wound resistor, oops, sorry. Let me zoom back out. So this resistor is actually not the current limiting one, it's this run. This 42.5 meg is just acting as the current limiter for the gauge, so it can measure the voltage without blowing itself up. Meaning, like, it's not actually sending 15,000 volts here, it'll be, you know, limited by the resistor to probably something stupidly small. I'd actually have to probably take apart the gauge to see what the spec is. I can't imagine it's sending 15,000 volts through all this circuitry over a plain piece of copper. And I'm guessing the blue is just basically going to be the reference, the ground reference. Well, ground reference. Well, actually, no, it's DC output, so yeah, it would be ground or return. So, I guess I'm going to do some research about this particular resistor and see, kind of, as if I can get this working correctly in its stock form, then maybe I'll see about getting it working incorrectly in a higher output form, then maybe drive some transistor tubes or things that go spark and arc and yada yada. What's that? High-low voltage is right here. And this little yellow wire goes up to those neons. Or no, that comes over to here on the gauge. And this wire, yellow and brown, also comes to the gauge. So I'm guessing the back of the gauge must also be set up as a like a pass-through. Drop the signal here, drop the voltage on the gauge and then carry it out to the rest of the circuits. There's your input. That's going to the high-low voltage switch, so they must be switching voltages in this area as well. Using this to adjust what it actually is, like a tiny variac. I have a 10 amp, 240 volt, and a 15 amp. Yeah, you can send one of them over if you want, Mouse. That'd be just fine. Does this guy have a little rating on it? Let's see. Do this without breaking anything. Stacko Energy Products. Input 120 volts, output 2.25 amps. 0.3 kilovolt amp max. Terminals 1 and 2 give you 0 to 120 volts. Terminals 1 to 4 give you 0 to 132 volts. So I guess this is a fucking 2 amp variac. Does that seem correct? What is up with this gauge? Which is pretty banged up. One of the guys I work with, Brandon, who is the one that gave me this. I have a couple guys that have been giving me some old kit lately, which is cool. He just found a variac at a customer, and they're like, "Yeah, go ahead and have it." And I'm like, "Oh, come on." He's one of them guys that, like, when he sees something cool, he'll just be like, "Hey, what are you doing with that?" And he gets a lot of cool shit that way. Lately, he's been giving some of his overflow to me. Yes, correct. Thank you, Rifleman. Didn't even think about that. So worst comes to worst, if this is a total failure, I at least have a tiny variac. And something that can create high voltage. Because that's what I need. More shit that can make high voltage. I mean, I got a 7.5 kilovolt neon transformer that I mess with. I got a bunch of course, I'm a car guy, so I have like 40 and 50,000 volt ignition coils, including some matched pair, matched set Subaru ones that you can actually use for straight out of the box voltage doubling on 2 matched coils. If you power it up, it's worth observing the variac with a thermal camera, as they do have a short circuit or two at the pickup arm. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I can do that. Yeah, that's right here. I was actually trying to see if I could get it hooked up to the laptop, but I have no, since it's USB-C, I basically has every adapter I need except for that one to make it work. Because there's no USB-C on the laptop, but there is on the computer that I was doing like my other live streams from. Yeah, there's my little, same thing you see. This is the like close-up macro lens, I guess you'd call it. But I'd have to buy the appropriate adapter to get it onto this particular computer, so we'll see. That may happen. But I keep this in my workbook bag so that it's always with me, whether I'm home in here, because I bring my book bag in every night, or if I'm at work. gauge. How about this? If I just... You know what, I'm going to take that out. That's banging up against all the other parts of it. That rattling around is causing more damage than not, because now it actually sits in there. If I decide start dinking around with this, I'll probably do it on a live stream. At least that way, if I blow myself up, somebody will be aware. Hey, you guys seen Scruff? Oh, he blew himself up a couple days ago. He's probably still on the floor. So. But yeah, I do want to do something with this, even if I don't use it as a HiPot tester, which, like, I don't see myself. Like, this one was specifically made or specialized for, they actually specified, like, rotating machinery, like lathes and stuff. And this is where it came from, was out of a place that does lots of big lathes. But if I really don't have any use for 15,000 volts at 2 milliamps, this can also be used for other fun things. Yes. So, cool grab. And he's got another one, like another HiPot tester, that he has no idea what he's doing with. A slightly newer one that I guess if he decides he doesn't want that, I'll take it too. Again. I'll put this little screw back there. Don't connect as a webcam. What's up, Normie? How you doing? Motor bin, I gave him a scrap motor. Actually, I think I remember you telling me that, Mouse, when you found that that Variac, or one of them, like start putting in the screws over on where you can't see. Don't connect those as a webcam type interface. When I was working regularly, I used to keep my Seek thermal cam in my jacket pocket in case I needed it. See, I don't know C80 Olivia. The other thing is, if, like, I'm sure this is one of those things, if anyone knows who that is, it's because they knew the person. But again, that's just like, what is it? Oh, yeah. My old ass wooden box voltmeter that we named Elvira because it was most likely, because we saw that signature on it that may have said Elvira or something. That's when we found out that that company, during the war, World War II, when it was made, they employed mostly women to do all the building. That was a properly built wooden box voltmeter. Where did I put it? It's around here somewhere. I have a lot of stuff in here right now. I need to get onto shelves. Oh. I guess I don't need it. And yes, it's just, you know, it's really mean. Oh, let's go, I guess let's go big head. Why does the focus look all out of way? Don't look bad on this screen. I guess it's just that, there's big head. Big head. There we go. Alright. Why don't we do one more little toasty cheersy thing, and I'm going to get ready to move on. I may be doing a stream soon, doing a fault analysis on a Kubota diesel engine harness. Public knowledge, so I'm not saying anything I shouldn't, but the main company I work for, not the dealer, but like the manufacturer, they have stopped carrying Kubota diesels and Kubota in general in our forklifts because fucking junk. The stuff they're giving us is just fucking junk. Wiring harnesses are all ultrasonically welded, which basically just means they take a bunch of strands of copper and they just squish it together and go make some noise at it, and that's supposed to bond it. Done properly, ultrasonic welding does work, but they don't really seem to be doing it properly. So we get problems with forklifts. Like on this particular one, they got a boost sensor code and an oil pressure code saying that the data from these sensors was erratic. The customer replaced sensors themselves, had the same codes. I go in, and the only wires to either sensor that worked were the ground wires, both positive and the signal wires were dead on them. Replaced them, and as I'm replacing them and moving the harness around, more faults started coming up. Like, that's how fucking shit these harnesses are. And it doesn't help that, like, you're in an automotive or industrial environment, I should say, in a forklift, and you're using 24 gauge wire with about 7 strands of copper in it on a diesel engine. Like, come on. So I have that harness, and we're all kind of curious to try to figure out where the wires are breaking, if it's a common point, or like where it goes around the air filter, or if it's just randomly breaking. Because I was able to find the ultrasonic, one of the wires dealt with one of the ultrasonic joints, but it didn't break. That was actually pretty good. Sorry, Big Clive Discord message. What's up, Captain Jim? So I would like to do a point-to-point analysis on that to figure out where it broke, and I may do that as a live stream. That'll be out in the garage because this came from a plant that deals with a lot of chemicals, and you want to talk about microplastics. Like, this place generates microplastics. Like, they're the ones that make the powder shit that goes to the companies that make plastic bottles and stuff. So it's full of all kinds of shit. So I ain't bringing that in here. So that'll be like I guess that'll be on the phone for a mobile live stream. And I got a bunch of other controllers here, like that we did that one online that had all that blew the ass out of all its capacitors, but I got a feeling we'll just find the same thing in those. So those will just end up being for parts. Yeah, just kind of rambling at this point. So let's do one more. I'll do one more toast with some super sour diesel, and then I will head on my way. Kind of a short stream, but yeah, I'll get back into it. And I will get some more streams going here soonish as things work out in that favor. So here's a toast to you. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you guys swinging through. Make the poo fly. Yeah, I can do the poo. Do more poo, absolutely, Miss Liz. I'll do that before. I'll toast and poo at the same time. We're down to purple, so we're gonna have to do a new color here soon if I get back into more of these streams. Does it pick that up? Yep. Alright. Here's the finale poo, and cheers to you. Whee! Alright, ladies and gentlemen. I realized I could just use the computer at my mom's. There you go. Cheers and poo. Could there be multiple breaks in different parts of the wire harness? That way when the vehicle moves, they try and jump to different wire. We're finding that the problem is it's not real obvious because it's breaking inside the insulation of the wire itself. So there's not even just like a, it's not like we're watching South Main Auto and they got the little tweak shot, like you cannot see anything. But it is separating inside the harnesses somewhere. So I'm actually going to have to just cut in and just start doing a point, with a meter just moving in until we see what's going on. Imagine writing 2 programs that would control poo fighting and... but no, I see what you're talking about, Jim, but no, this seems to be a little different. Like I said, with the ultrasonic welding and the fact that they're using a few strands of copper wire in these things is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to take another puff, and then we'll head on down that old dusty trail. So, thanks for stopping by, everybody. I used to be really good at timing this to stop streaming, so we're going to see if I still remember how to do that. So, cheers, everybody. I'll be back probably in a couple weeks. And we'll get some drone shit going here as soon as the weather isn't so stupid. Do I have a theme tune yet? I do not. I get the occasional idea, and we'll see what happens. That's all in due time with everything else. So, I'm going to try and time this to be as least awkward as possible. So, talk to everybody later, and have a groovy rest of your weekend. In 4, 3, 2, 1...